everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef. Today I'm going to show you how to make an old recipe from Pampered Chef. This is called Asian Pork Noodle Skillet. It's really quick and easy and it is so delicious. And surprisingly, we're going to use ramen noodles, these little ramen noodle packets that you see here. So it comes together so quick and easy. Let's go ahead and get started. I've got our pork already trimmed and cut into the right size pieces. So we're gonna season this up. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're gonna pour in 2 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of Pampered Chef's Asian seasoning mix. I love this seasoning mix because it has so much flavor packed in there and you don't have to measure out a bunch of different ingredients. You just use the mix and you're all set. I am gonna go ahead and pour some oil in my skillet here. I'm gonna be using the 12-inch non-stick stainless skillet here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on, put it on high, pour in some oil here, let that heat up. I'm also going to add 2 packages of the seasoning from the ramen noodles packet. So we're going to use 4 ramen noodles packages, but we're only going to add the seasoning from 2 of them into our pork. So I'm using the soy sauce flavor. Soy sauce flavor ramen noodle soup mix. So we're going to put 2 of those in here. And I'm going to use our gravity controlled chef's tongs just to kind of mix this together. I really like using tongs to mix things like this because it just is a really easy way to sort of coat everything with the sesame oil and the seasonings. All right, so our skillet is already nice and hot, so I'm using an induction burner here, and so it heats up really fast. We're going to do half of this chicken, and actually I'm just going to, excuse me, I said chicken, pork. I'm going to spread this oil around a little bit in the pan. I'm going to put half of the pork in here. We're going to cook this in 2 batches. And this just helps it brown a little bit better when you cook it in smaller batches because you can spread the food out in the pan. So like I said, I'm using the 12-inch non-stick stainless skillet. I have a couple other sizes. I'll show you those in just a second. I'm going to put this on medium now that our pan is nice and hot, and I will toss this just a little bit before, let this cook, and then we'll toss it, finish cooking, and then we'll transfer that to one of our insulated bowls, and then we're going to cook the remaining pork. So I love using this cookware because it is a stainless pan, but it also has a non-stick grid. The non-stick grid keeps the food from sticking to the pan, but it has a stainless, it has a non-stick coating with a stainless grid. I'm getting all tongue-tied today. The stainless grid allows you to brown your food, and the non-stick coating keeps your food from sticking to the pan. This cookware has a lifetime guarantee, and it does include the glass lid that I had out just a few minutes ago, and we will use that lid towards the end of the recipe. So I'm just going to toss these pieces, let them brown on the other side, and then I'll leave them undisturbed for just a little bit, and we'll prep out some of the other ingredients that we're going to need for this recipe. So I'm going to set this aside for the moment, and let's get our vegetables ready to go. I do also love using the fish spatula. I think I'm going to use that to flip those over in just a minute. But let's get our carrots going. I've got 2 carrots. I went ahead and washed these, and I'm going to use our serrated peeler, it's the same color as the carrot here, to peel these off. So the serrated peeler has little teeny tiny teeth, so it's a little bit different than your standard vegetable peeler, but it does come with, the set comes with a vegetable peeler. Oh, and I do need the julienne peeler, so I'm going to have to grab that one out of my cabinet because I actually am going to use both of those. So let me peel this, and I'm going to just toss that pork just a little bit with our fish spatula. I love using the fish spatula because it's not going to scratch the pan. So this cookware, you can use metal in it and not have to worry about it. Flip some more of these over. All right, let me grab my julienne peeler out of the cabinet real quick. both of them, all three of them. So you've got the serrated peeler is orange. Whoops, my camera's in the wrong place. The serrated peeler is orange, the green is the julienne, and the blue is your regular vegetable peeler. All right, you guys. My words are just not coming to me today. All right, so we're gonna take our serrated peeler, and you see how this, or excuse me, julienne. I told you guys my words are not coming. So this is the julienne peeler. It allows you to get these super thin strips. I'm gonna toss this pork. It's getting nice and brown, and it's getting crispy on the edges, which is what we want. All right, I'll cook this batch just a little bit longer, and then we'll transfer it over to our insulated bowl to keep it warm, and then we will cook the other. So we're gonna just cut these into julienne strips, like this. I got a little piece snagged in there. I'll pop that out. There we go. Then we'll trim those julienne strips into shorter pieces. We'll just use a knife for that. This is also really great for topping a salad. So it makes it look really pretty, plus you're adding those vegetables. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of bunch all this together. Toss this just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna transfer this to our insulated bowl. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm gonna use the small insulated bowl. I'm just gonna use my fish spatula, scoop out the pork, transfer it to this bowl, and this insulated bowl will keep this pork warm for up to 2 hours if I needed it, but it won't be in there for that long. Turn my burner off for just a second. I don't want those juices to burn sitting in the pan there. All right, I'm gonna set this aside, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of my pork in the skillet. And I'll turn this back on. I'll put it on high for just a minute. And I'm just gonna use the fish spatula just to kind of spread this around. I think I have a little bit more in this batch. I didn't have it very well. All right, so I'm just gonna let this sit for just a second. And while I'm doing that, hopefully you guys can still see my cutting board here. I'm gonna take my Santoku knife, and I'm just going to cut these strips into shorter pieces. Got a couple long ones over here. And I'm just gonna set that aside. We're gonna use a bell pepper in this recipe. So, I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good. We're gonna take our bell pepper, and what I'm gonna do is cut the top of this bell pepper off. If I had a red bell pepper, I would use that just to add a little bit more color, but this is what I had in my fridge, so this is what we're using. I'm gonna take our scoop loop here, and I'm gonna scrape out the seeds of our pepper. If you're making stuffed peppers, this is the perfect way to do it. I'm gonna toss our pork, flip that over. You want to make sure that you get all of the pieces flipped over to make sure everything gets nice and brown. And then we'll let it sit on this side for a little bit to finish cooking. And don't worry about the little crusty pieces on the bottom of your pan. If they're sticking a little bit, that's okay. We're going to deglaze the pan with some water anyways, and that's going to take care of that, and it's not going to burn or stick. And those little brown bits are actually called fond, F-O-N-D, and it means tasty brown bits. So you actually want them to be there. All right, a couple more pieces here I want to flip over. There we go. All right, let's get our bell pepper ready to go. So I just pop the stem out of the pepper. We've got the seeds out of the pepper here, and I'm going to slice this into like julienne strips, and then I will dice them into smaller pieces. Put that little guy back over here. And you always want to make sure that you're holding your knife correctly. I actually would prefer to be using my larger knife for this, but this one works great too. So you're going to put your thumb and your index finger right here at the base, and your other 3 fingers wrap around the handle. So we're going to julienne the pepper, and then we're going to dice the julienne strips. These are going to go in the pan after we finish browning the pork. So cooking the pork is going to take the most time. Toss this around just a little bit more. And just so you know, our cookware, the stainless nonstick cookware, is oven safe, and it is also dishwasher safe. I think I mentioned earlier that it has a lifetime guarantee also. I just turned that down to medium. All right, so we've got our carrots and our bell pepper. Oops, I have to cut up this little guy here. Let me cut up these little tops. I don't like to waste any of the food. And if you end up with a bunch of scraps, like these carrot pieces that we have here, you can actually just take a Ziploc bag and keep it in your freezer, and anytime you have leftover vegetable scraps, just throw it in the bag and freeze it, and then when the bag is full, you can use it to make vegetable stock. You just add it to your Instapot or your Pampered Chef quick cooker, and you're going to be able to add that in. I'm going to just, there we go. Perfect. I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to transfer this into the same container that we have the other pork in. So let's transfer this, and this insulated bowl is going to keep the pork warm for us while we cook the rest of the food. Probably should have put this in the bigger bowl. I'm going to actually put the whole thing in the bigger bowl when it's done. A couple more pieces that don't want to come out here. There we go. Okay, so let's see if I can squish that lid on there. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these carrots and peppers to the pan. Let me turn this back on. I'm going to turn it on medium. And we're just going to cook the peppers and the carrots just maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then we're going to add some water to the pan. So I'm going to let that sit for a second. Clean up my mess. This recipe is so easy. Once you get the pork cooked, it's just so simple. All right. Same thing as I did with the other. I'm going to use the fish spatula to toss this around in the pan. Let that cook. And then I'm going to get our green onions ready. So I'm going to slice the ends off, and then I'm going to cut the white, and we'll set the greens aside because we're going to use those in just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add the white part of the green onion into the skillet, and then we're going to deglaze the pan with some water. So I've got 4 cups of water here. Yum. All right. And I'm going to scrape the bottom of the pan. And that's another thing I love about this fish spatula is it's really easy to scrape all those brown bits from the bottom of the pan. You don't want to leave those there because there's so much flavor. You want to sort of make almost like a broth out of those brown bits at this step. got all that scraped off the bottom. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 4 packages of the soy sauce flavor ramen noodles. So we've already taken 2 of the seasoning packets out of these. Let me pour these in. So we've got 2, maybe 3 and 4. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer those for you after the video. And if you see any products that you would like to purchase, I would love the opportunity to be your consultant. As a consultant with Pampered Chef, I do earn commission on the products that I sell. All right, I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna turn it up high. I'm gonna grab a clean pair of tongs. And in just a second, I'm actually going to use these tongs to flip over these noodle squares so that they will have a chance to cook on the top too. Because if you leave them outside of the water, then they're just going to stay crispy. It's going to take a lot longer for them to cook. So we've got this up on high. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring this to a boil in just a second and let this cook. All right. Flip this over. All right, so right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just cook these noodles and wait for them to be nice and soft. Just a few minutes. I do have this on high just to kind of speed up this process a little bit. You could do it on medium if you weren't in a hurry to do this. I like to cook on high if I can, so that's one of the things that I like about using the stainless cookware is it can withstand a high heat. If you're using non-stick cookware, you need to kind of stay medium, high. But these are just such amazing pans. So I do want to show you a couple more of them. So let me make some space here. These are the other 2 sizes that we have in the same cookware line. So the one I'm using right now is the 12-inch non-stick stainless piece of cookware, and it comes with a glass lid. Both of these come with a glass lid, but I don't have them out right now. You'll be able to use your imagination. So the one I want to show you next, this is our 10-inch non-stick stainless skillet. So you'll see that the pan itself is stainless. There is a non-stick coating on the inside, and this non-stick coating is PFOA free. On top of the non-stick coating is this hexagon stainless grid. That stainless grid gives you the benefit of cooking in a stainless pan, but that non-stick coating keeps the food from sticking to the pan. So this is the 10-inch. The one that I have the pork noodle skillet in is the 12-inch. And then the other one that I have is the wok, and I love using the wok for stir fries and other large dishes. You'll notice that this one is really nice and deep, a lot more deep than the 2 skillets that we have. Now, the reason that I use the 12-inch skillet versus the wok for this is there's a more, so this has a very narrow bottom, or more narrow bottom, compared to the 12-inch skillet, because the 12-inch skillet is just a flat skillet all the way across, where this one starts flat and then it tapers up like a traditional wok would be. And so, excuse me, the wok is great for stir fries. It's great, you could even do soups in here if it's not like a massive recipe. This is a very large pan though, so you can do quite a bit in this pan. So let's check on our ramen. All right, you see how it's kind of getting soft? So I'm just gonna sort of mix this around a little bit, flip those noodles back over. This is almost finished. We just have to stir in the pork once we get these noodles where we want them to be. All right, so let me let that sit there. And then I want to show you the other size to our insulated bowls. So you might think that these insulated bowls are just something that you would use, say, for the holidays, which it's great for that because you're able to prepare multiple side dishes, and then once they're finished cooking, you can put them in these containers to keep them hot for up to 2 hours. I use these in my kitchen on a regular basis just for dinner time, not necessarily just for when I'm hosting a big event or a party. This is a perfect example. So when you're making dinner and you have to brown the meat, but then you take it out of the pan and let it sit until you're ready to put it back in the pan, you want to keep it as hot as you can because you don't want to cool off the recipe or have to wait for the food to reheat completely on the stovetop. And so I love using these when I'm grilling chicken on my deluxe grill and griddle. I know you guys have seen some of the videos that I've used for that, but I use this a lot for chicken tenders. It's also great if you're taking food on the go. You can go through the drive-thru, say at Chick-fil-A, and get a tray of nuggets and put them in one of these. Take them with you and they're gonna stay warm for an extended period of time. This is the larger version. So I love that we have two different sizes and the lids both just kind of hook on the side so that when you're serving yourself, you can prop the lid up, and then when you're ready to close it in between servings, put the lid back on, and that's gonna hold all of the steam and the heat inside of the bowl. So we have the 1 quart and the 2 quart. Actually, I think this is 2.5 quart. Let's see if it says on the bottom. It does not. But I think this one's actually a 2.5 quart. So 1 and 2.5. I'm gonna check on the noodles. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just reduce the heat down to medium. I do want that sauce to thicken up a little bit. Let me take my lid and set it aside. And then I'm going to add the pork that we cooked already and add it right back into the skillet. So we're going to pour this in. And just gently toss the noodles. Fills the skillet up here. If you just sort of pull the noodles up from the bottom, you can put them on top of the pork and not make as big of a mess. And then you're just going to kind of let this sit for just a few minutes. And when you're ready to serve it, you can garnish it with those green onions. So let's go ahead and do that. I am going to put this in the large insulated bowl after I finish cooking it, just because my family is not here yet to eat this, but they will be in just a little bit. So I'm going to use my kitchen shears and I'm just going to take these green onions. I'm going to put this on low now. And I'm just going to snip these right on the top. So, like I mentioned before, if you're new to my channel, I hope you'll click the subscribe button while you're here. That way you're notified anytime I have new videos. And if you're not part of my recipe community, please check it out. You can find it at theflipflopchef.com. And I give away a prize every single Friday in that group. All you have to do is look for the Flip Flop Friday post. I have a couple of stray green onions there. The Flip Flop Friday post. Leave your comment or answer to the question depending on what that prize is that week, and you will be entered in to win. So if you guys have any questions about this recipe, please let me know. I will post the recipe in the recipe community. You can find it at theflipflopchef.com. If you saw anything in this video that you would like to purchase, I hope you'll reach out to me. As a consultant with the Pampered Chef, I do earn commission on any of the products that I sell. So if you're enjoying my videos, I would love the opportunity to be your consultant. So I hope you have a great evening, and I'll see you next time.